Sedinam trial ni shasi na o ye deputy attorney general, right?
Me toso.
Oh, ba toso.
Abra na penka hoba me toso.
Okay. 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 I mean, sir, Osha grounds of appeal now. The first one was the charge sheet was defective, and you would realize the Court of Appeal ABC or decision mainly on that first ground of appeal it was saying, I mean, a defective charge sheet and answer then.
Yo, yes, Court of Appeal judgment you are right. They are more comfortable rely on defective charge sheet. But the big kind of say I disagree with the Court of Appeal. They didn't do a good job. Judgment not stand the test of any legal scrutiny. Now, the mention the America.
Okay.
In your lawyer media, lawyer media would see me the ample for argument's sake. The charge is quite a defective one. And just also the panel Ujano by the appellate court. May come Remy, Section 31 of the Court Act. Check 31-2. Now, said the Parliament in Maxwell, Omutroyo said the Court of Appeal, as any appellate court, a will be on the ground say charge sheet a defective. Provided say miscarriage of justice MIA and so evidence via any record Nipano before. So the Court of Appeal is faulted firstly by Section 31.
And it's your considered opinion, sir, when they establish a charge sheet they defective, no? What should have been the decision? Sir, they order a trial de novo? And I said,
I'm coming there.
Okay.
I'm coming there.
Okay, that's fine.
So the first time I say that's a defective, no? Next phase and say, oh, she said, a dance here a one crack no. A dance here is support to any other charge as you have it now. And I am pushing your catch them and say, could work as a charge a defective one. What you do is say you order trial de novo. Exactly. Because Ebasana is on technical ground.
Yes.
So because we are talking about 90 million Ghana cedis. And I can't want it. But I will say, cash sheet, defective. So that's the first point.
Okay.
Second point, now a dance here, court in any more, court to be any fast one, and a dance here one could be changing so I can say, judgment, make I say, amen. The kind 500,000 Ghana cedis I can't say Maslow for the command that institution or Ashanti region no. A dance here the court and say Emrasa microfinance company in cash the cano. Omu say interest was no moon to be chia. Don't me some more the checks. Ebra Maslow, my mate Temakulu. Now send it can't be out for 3 years. Mamaka said Debbie, on a board chairman, no Casa Debbie, Minya cash. A dancing American to be a what dancing. Yes, I cash no bank that institution is cano cash at the bar and kind. But you'll be sure, mamma, no more. There's a filling station, Barcelona, filling station. There are dancing, Sahono Mushiano.
Okay.
And on this cano, a shannon. Then I'll choke that and a sackers cano. But the sackers cano will find commerce lock accounts to be. It's a great dancing. Yeah, judgment and I can say, I still say a dance here anyhow. So that's the first a dance here. Solid. Unless say, could appear a patch and say, I can't dance there, my Jesus Christ. If I am a quarter, any dance here. Solid a dance here. Number 2, a dance here, I won't cut as well, she said. Mammy Tamaklu, and Mra, a jar a shake and tamanto. Omampani Mahama Samre 2013-2014. Because on mining first time master for na says cano umfankoma get the 4 mano and show me omugum. That's kind of wrong at almost 1.4 million Ghana cedis. Audits na yeah, the kids it shows say stand the corn man or no close to 700,000+ Ghana cedis. Almost 600,000 or 700,000 there. Kanu anko mbani biaho. Any adansia report no at the court farm so. Number 3. Maslow. Say sensitization program from a mana discuss from one about 80,000 of them throughout the 10 regions. Then 10 regions are Ghana. And on budget close to 1.8 million Ghana cedis. Mami Tamaklu eco region and sape out of the 10. Yes, so called yes, score spending year per within 1,300, meaning I nearly 13,000. 1,003. So meaning almost 1.7 plus million Ghana cedis, and also of fire. Another one. We have some financial literacy for more clients maybe. It's about 246,000 Ghana cedis. 1 year when you spend even 1 cedi out of the amount, 1 year program na nipani biya. That's kanu pasi afa go back. Do you dance we a walk in cratemu? And the last one, we have almost talk has be 350. Yeah, the dance by and say can ebo in a cost pano a $10 million. Now so we have $14.5 million. Yeah, a dance and the my ina ewum. Now the same more cranny say. Dance the by mu edu nyina no maame no ye na agent say on my court e me na mi say ade we dey enye no kre say na tie. So on what basis we court of PC say a dance here in this asem we mu eye na maame no kwa bia make no so obi nya daka nka so we na enye no kre me so scan by me the ko ha the we ko ha then that case so two side me say criminal prosecution the state must prove his case beyond reasonable doubt. But on the side of the prosecution, I mean, I can tell you without any equivocation, the state prosecutors tells me the man we the public servants investigators the kind of auditors don't be a dance or court. The other court do a like court of Vika say a dance anywhere. Like I say, idea,
but lawyer, even before the whether the charge sheet was defective and also defective, on even the evidence, and the probative value according to evidence, the Court of Appeal in Omu conclusion page 92, 93, and 94. Mintiming kind, and I'm only taking a cursory look. So I conclusion almost say. Paragraph 120. It has long been the golden thread running through our criminal jurisprudence that the prosecution must prove the guilt of the accused and that this burden never shifts unless the enabling statute or law has expressly and clearly said otherwise. The principle articulated by Viscount Stanky in Wilmington versus DPP, our law student, say, and unshaken sins is not a technical nicety of procedure. It is the constitutional expression of the presumption of innocence, and it is owed to every accused. 121, I'm going to say, the learned trial judge lost sight of this. Confronted with a charge sheet drawn mostly in negative terms, that the appellant had acted without authorization or without due process, she reasoned that because the prosecution had averred a negative, it fell to the appellant to prove the positive. That authorization, process, or justification in fact existed. With respect, that reasoning inverts the very principle it purports to apply. 122. The manner in which a prosecutor chooses to draft a particular offense cannot, of itself, relocate the burden of proving an ingredient of the crime. A negative averment, artfully or carelessly pleaded, is not an exception or proviso. It's not an exception, a proviso, or a statutory defense. It remains in substance an element the prosecution must establish, and the difficulty of proving a negative is the prosecution's difficulty to bear, not the accused to solve. I will go further to emphasize the principle that unless a statute plainly places the burden of proving a particular element of an offense upon the accused, she is under no obligation whatsoever to lead evidence in aid of a prosecution's case that has not yet reached the threshold the law demands of it. To require otherwise is to ask the accused to complete the prosecution's unfinished work and to convict her for declining the invitation as was done by the learned trial judge. The prosecution's evidence on a fair and unaided reading fell short of proof beyond reasonable doubt. The shortfall was not made good by any burden properly resting on the appellant, and the trial judge's misdirection on this fundamental point goes to the very root of a fair trial. For these reasons, therefore, I am satisfied that the conviction and sentencing on all the charges, including those manifestly defective charges, cannot stand. I would allow the appeal and set aside the appellant's conviction and sentencing on all count. In the way and Justice Emmanuel Ankama, I'm not sure this lead opinion, no? The evidence he believes said you couldn't prove the case beyond reasonable doubt because that it was for you to prove and not for the appellant, no, to rather prove positive. When you crafted the charge sheet, no, in the negative. Okay, counsel. The
judge misapprehended, misunderstood the import of the prosecution's case. With a great respect to the judge, his appreciation of the burden of proof, wrong. In criminal cases, the state or the prosecution is supposed to criminal cases. They'll say, some court, if you prove a case beyond reasonable doubt.
Yes.
Everybody knows this is not something the judge should lecture anyone.
Yes.
Now, who we are, then the accused person will have to just raise doubt to show, say, the okay, no prove beyond reasonable doubt, something that everybody knows. So, before what you know, to me, it does not answer the question. The key question is, charge sheet that the state prepare, you must get evidence to back the charge sheet that required. The advance year I was a state no the advance and by my minus cratana of sign say scan magic cash a free more. Nipo this buy no back or baby shan batuna filling station and can manage it cano. Accounts on prepare and issues say one first can two company with accounts no. If the judge of a sort before Kaina meaning system manager no Rofun Kataswana. No, that is not how the law works. With all due respect. The trial judge, a very good analysis of the judgment. I mean, you can judgment now. The first one judgment now. To the extent say, or evaluate the evidence. No, Mamma, the question is a lawyer or consider it, including Mamma the statement of the police or consider it. So the judge said that the court of appeal is a little and say, if the accused stating proven case beyond reasonable doubt, the accused person can say, I will not speak, and then the court will acquit her. No. The court can say you have a case to answer and you do not answer. The court can go ahead to convict you. And before the court says, oh, case to answer, no, the court must be satisfied. Say there's evidence on record. So the greater respect to the court of appeal, they grossly erred. Even almost talk about a charge sheet, say defective. We had when already now.
Yes.
Some are defective. And so what? Section 31 is clear. Section 31 of the Courts Act is very clear. Section 406, subsection 1 of Act 30 is very clear. The Court of Appeal got it wrong. The trial judge got it right. But Court of Appeal has three judges against one judge. The Supreme Court will have to step in to see because this particular judgment, so much as a dance woman know any dance meet the threshold, and the sort of court friend and coupon and comedy dance amount. We are no magicians, but every single ingredient here can be state in terms of the catching of the chances they will be in the negative or positive. Whether negative or positive, the state must prove its case. So it doesn't matter the language. You are supposed to lead evidence which you say the war cannot prove. We never said the same. I'm proving innocence. The Court of Appeal, they should also know that. You also know. Then no, the state never says to them, "Mama, you come and prove her innocence." That's why the trial judge evaluated too. I mean, if you look at the Court of Appeal, at the abonnent page, go to a trial judge judgment, now the abonnent 4-page judgment, and then look at the analysis for making it against the Court of Appeal judgment. To me, plenty English, but Ghana for a seeker over 90 million Ghana cedis, and a Court of Appeal, it's technical grounds. Because then we can be Simon, ample the charge sheet may be effective. A court doing substantial justice, and a court minded say also you protected state resources. I'm deciding you go back so that the matter can be tried again by the court.
It then no on or better discharge. Yes,
because that's on 30. So if for Court Act and I look at the Court Act, how would you put and in the
it may be Section 31 of the Court Act.
Yes.
Appeal in criminal matters allowed on substantial miscarriage of justice. I don't know subheading, no. Was it 31-2, right?
Yeah.
31-2, good. 2, they said the court shall dismiss the appeal if it considers that no substantial miscarriage of justice has actually occurred, or that the point raised in the appeal consists of a technicality or procedural error or a defect in the charge or indictment, but that there is evidence to support the offense alleged in the statement of offense, in the charge or indictment or any other offense of which the accused could have been convicted upon that charge or indictment.
Okay, you move the whole plane. So Court of Appeal telling us this section no and I mean yes, was section 406 of Act 30 so 4061 bit me here no so.
Okay.
So as a lawyer, speaking as a lawyer, I can say the Court of Appeal has done a great disservice to the people of Ghana in this particular matter. They seriously erred. Our judgment cannot stand the test of legal scrutiny. A combination of whatever the judges think should be the case, but looking at the evidence on record properly so-called, the trial judge, the judgment, and as a Ghana point, I say, I will be speaking as a politician, as a party in that case. I rather urge people who need that kind of thing, so they should take the judgment of the trial judge. No more Court of Appeal, no more law, no more Court of Appeal for the support and ready support so man.
This morning, all prepare to host the Attorney General Jubilee House media briefing. No, the Court of Appeal delivered a judgment on Sedinam Tamaklo. Mejidi said Ote and Sana most starting a press conference. No, when news broke, no, how did you receive it? Net was Ote is court no quit discharge no.
The position of government on Sasemwe was expressed by the Attorney General in court. Indeed, many of the responses have been misdirected. You know what? You see, one of the things is you see on my women, and it's a in the analysis of issues that come. In the Ninka say, there's no basis, absolutely none, not one. A zero basis to blame government for anything that the appeals court has done. But my sister, I'm for air cancer condemning government. But let me repeat, there's no basis for that.
Really?
What is the basis for accusing government, Obi? If an appeals court makes a ruling, how do you blame government? You are the trained lawyer, can't you? No, you tell me.
No, sir. On the things that happen behind the scenes, people may know.
What things have happened, Obi? What things have happened?
I'm not saying something has happened behind the scenes. I'm saying if something happens behind the scenes, that people will not know.
No, Obi. So catch me. What has happened behind the scenes? Say it publicly. What has happened behind the scenes? And then you see behind the scenes.
What is public now is that the Court of Appeal has ruled acquitting and discharging.
So who ruled? Who ruled?
The Court of Appeal.
So who answers for the Court of Appeal's ruling?
The judiciary, of course.
So what is the basis for attacking government? So, you see, we must avoid emotive responses. Facts were where you avoid emotive responses. Why? Obi, another question. Was it not the judiciary of Ghana, represented by the High Court, that sentenced the offense?
Sedinam, yes.
Only as a sentence, no. Why the case Akufo-Addo sentence Sedinam? And as MPP are buying a sentence Sedinam. So how is it that when the High Court, the same judiciary, a committee will be a papa, but the same judiciary can say Yeja will be a assembly? How do we reconcile these two positions? The point is that in 2024, I think April,
yes,
High Court a committee Sedinam and of sentencing to 10 years.
10 years imprisonment. Sure.
I think the month after that, 9th May 2024, 2 clear years ago, and I said in an appeal ne sentence. So the Attorney General, this has no court no. Ofiabemu, January 2025, and Attorney General for buy. Attorney General for buy no. Oppose a year appeal now. Sedinam the court.
Yes.
And appeals court SSA date for judgment. And no more a ruling. Attorney General Babontia Beka say he disagrees with the ruling. He believes that the High Court judgment, was sound and had merit. And he will do 2 things. He will file for a stay of execution. And then he will appeal.
Appeal, sure.
Obi, what else is there to do at Abanye? And what would be the basis for attacking government for this ruling? How does government bear responsibility for an appeals court ruling?
And I get the sense you vehemently disagree with Omoa Ekase, and I've read posts from some CSO players because this is not good for the optics.
Obi, let me address the issue of optics.
Yes.
Why? The court of Ghana, or for that matter, the court of any other jurisdiction in this world, do they convict people for optics? And do they free people for optics? When Sedi was convicted, was it for optics?
No.
And how can we argue, say, because of optics, say, Obi Difa, and my yempanin too, and as Obi Dibuma, yempanin kotum. So that optics argument does not happen. With the greatest, but it's an emotional argument, not a logical one. The judicial system is set up to ensure, say, nipa a different pet any domatu if yasi. An idea on the two if yasi. Because a human institution, the mistakes can be made. So I must say.
Yes.
So nipa ne the two if yasi no. So if you say you didn't need a year, and man who can say or appeal. Or appeal, 2 things can happen. Either say the initial rule judgment of the court will be upheld. And I say, so one of 2 outcomes. One outcome has come out today. So what kind of optics are? What is optics? So because of optics, I should come and block you and put you in prison so that I will satisfy public opinion. You and I know, and you are the practicing lawyer. Courts don't deal with public opinion. They don't. And someone they deal only with what they believe to be the facts. In fact, even appeals court ruling, you can go higher than that.
Yes. Yes.
And Obi, in this country's history, there have been many appeals court decisions that have overturned high court decisions. In fact, after 40, it was another the MPP in appeals court overturning a
high court
submission of no case ruling in a high court here.
Yes.
So if the same appeals court takes another decision, doesn't matter which government is in power. And how does the government of the day bear that responsibility? What is the basis for it?
Yeah, but Felix, when you look at how things happen, look at the scenario. This is someone who was standing trial or jampi bail. The trial ne also in absentia. Wama abain SSI. Abain SSI extradition so Emma Obai. Oba Ghana. There were issues, minority raising issues, or only prison, or that only prison, or prison. Abide by, Ebe established clearly say, or prison. About 51 days, of her coming back into Ghana. Court of Appeal discharges and acquits her. I mean, how the chronology of events, may lead people to make the claims they be making here.
Obi, it is a bogus position to take. First of all, time Ben said na jumping bill.
That should be in 2022, thereabout.
2022, na abandon the
MPP.
So does the MPP NDC bear blame for setting a jumping bill?
No.
Number two, say you are aware, say it was the MPP government that filed for extradition.
Yes.
They filed the extradition in 2024. So the 2 years Nana said who was to blame for the delay in filing for extradition? And then, because they had already filed for extradition, there was nothing else for the NDC government to do to wait for the Americans to effect it.
Yes.
And I said the buyer, Sedin is in prison. Up until this ruling, she was in prison. Not one the claims about Bontin said, or the few yes, it's a blatant lie. I came out publicly to debunk that. And you know, it is not true. Number two, Obi, appeal now said the Ben of Hale.
From the records, I think May 2024, as you said earlier.
It's May 2024. No, can you say a NDC person of Hale appeal now? Okay, maybe so. So now we will the issue of chronology.
Oh no, I mean, sir, based on the dates.
And then number two, which body sets the dates for judgment?
The judiciary.
If the end is necessary dates for judgment now. Toby, answer me.
No,
you are the one who has raised
it. No, it cannot be NDC.
So why then do you speak about chronology of events? How? The NDC was not responsible for Sedinam jumping bill. That fact must be established. So if we are not responsible for Sedinam jumping bill, how can we be blamed for her jumping bill? In any event, the day Ghana or the sentence started from that day. So that resolves the issue of the absence of the jurisdiction.
Yes.
So up until this appeal, she was going to serve the 10 years, starting from the day Oko prison. So whether she was here or not before the convention, it's immaterial in terms of the punishment that the state was exacting against her. So how do you tie the NDC with this? Is it make us emotional? It is not logical. In us, what BN so there's no basis. It is completely baseless. And you see, we must refrain from that kind of conduct.
Yeah, but
you cannot blame Obia on your bonnet for it. Unless you are suggesting, says you see, a president of Kokachre appeals court, how they should govern. Do you have any evidence of any form of government interference in this?
Yeah, but Felix,
That is not. Do you know when they were appointed?
No, I may have to check.
They were appointed under President Akufo-Addo.
All the three?
Yes.
You are saying that for a fact?
That is what I know. So I've set out the scenario for you. So on what basis are you accusing the NDC? And now Obi claiming say they are angry at government. How does government bear responsibility for it?
Felix.
And Obi, is it the first time in our history appeals court has overturned the High Court ruling? In fact, what kind of case no? It was overturned. It was a very controversial, high-profile case, but the appeals court overturned it. And their decision stands until it is reversed by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, but Felix, I'm wondering if this is a position you've held over the years, because I recall.
Why did I hold a contract? On what basis would I hold a contract?
Hold on. And I'll give you an example. Mekaisa, when the Atofos and Insamne Koswa, the High Court, and all of that. I mean, we interviews over interviews. I mean, and just not you. I mean, communicators of your party in opposition, blamed the Akufo-Addo administration for some decisions and free in court ever.
No, I see. In my view, the Atofos case was one of the most useless cases I mean. So I reserve the right to criticize the decision to prosecute. So I can say. But government's role ends with prosecution. And Hello, did you hear me say the judge who sat on that case and after the appeals court in that case, I Yeboah. I criticize Governor Dame for taking a bad case to court. I stand by it today, I stand by it tomorrow. Obi, I have criticized the judiciary before. I have criticized them on their handling of the birth certificate, have I not? I have said that so publicly. I have criticized them for their handling of the Muntio case. I stand by it. But how do you say the scenario I have set out, President Mahama should be blamed? How? Did President Mahama facilitate Sedinam's exit from Ghana in 2022? One and all should you say, or the ball, a Ghana, a share home. But in fact, it was even the court that granted Sedinam the leave to travel in the first place. Yeboah.
Yes. So
how does the NDC come in that? And Yeboah, have we not followed through the tradition to bring Yeboah home? Yeboah. Was she not serving her prison sentence as of the time of this judgment? And indeed, the appeal does it not long predate this government. So, what is the basis for that purported anger? Say NDC about Yeboah.
Yeah, but sir, one of the reasons why some members of the NDC have never forgiven somebody like President Kufuor was because of Tachuche Kata. I mean, there were allegations all over the place. Kufuor empaneled judges just to get Tachuche Kata in prison, where was the principle you were espousing today?
It doesn't drive what you are saying.
I didn't hear.
You are claiming that there are opinions on social media and that they are angry. So I've said maybe a series of questions. All of them you've answered in the affirmative.
No, this is related to you saying I'm for blaming the government for what has happened today.
Is it Obi? And so somewhere in also.
I didn't hear.
Why are you telling me say there is a nexus between Tachuche and anyway? In Tachuche's case, or court, no date had been set for the judgment. Then or court, nobody had been notified that there will be judgment that day. In fact, the president of the GBA at the time himself raised issue with that.
Asempa FM.
Sorry, But you are, so what are you alleging? President Mahama, you said, is that what you are suggesting?
No, I'm saying
so then what is the issue?
People blaming president and the executive for decisions from our court on political issues. No,
and
they didn't start today.
There's no basis for what they are saying. What is the basis for it? Actually, I've set out the scenario for you. My counsel in actually, which of them can the NDC be faulted for? Which of actually, and they should furnish us with the basis. You see, as a giant Sanko Ghana.
Very well.
An appeal, a process has been undertaken. You see, a year Abain did not defend the state against the appealer. Then you have a problem.
Sure.
And Yeboah.
Sure.
First of all, people have not even read the judgment. No, but I'm not going reading one sentence of the judgment. They've not even seen what the state said. And yet you are saying Abain should be blamed. How can you engage in misplaced anger? Say, why would I be justified to do so? What will be the basis for it? Is it criticizing the court is allowed? So criticize the court. Yeboah.
Yes.
Why? There was a judge who recently went to pick some judgment from, I think, or offensive view from Wikipedia. These people not criticize and ridicule him.
Yeah.
Can you blame government? I think government Wikipedia when it on here. Recently, judge now, say Abronye was not equal before the law like others. Was he not roundly condemned? Yeah. So that is done. Condemning judges, criticizing judgments, is that. But I'm saying, any claim, say Abain bears responsibility in this matter is baseless. And that must be placed on record.
Very well. Felix, my say, he said the Attorney General I promise you have train appeal and then we
yes, and the Attorney General has even gone the step to tell you what in fact, and he was clear. So he believes that the original High Court judge had merit. That is the position of that. In fact, that is actually the position of government. That is the position of government. The appeal court in
you don't.
But you know, say whether you agree with the appeal court or not, their ruling stands until it is overturned by a higher body.
That's true.
That is the position of the law.
That's true.
And Obi, as for court judgments that we disagree with there, it will not end today. It will not end tomorrow. It's not the first time a man for any court in no. It will not be the last time. But nobody has the right to peddle on truth and falsehood about government in this matter.
And this
simply because we are citizens.
The outcome today will not deal a blow to the fight, the oral fight.
How does it deal a blow to the fight against corruption? Obi, is it the first time in Ghana's history? Under President Mills, almost every NPP person taken to court was acquitted by the court. Anamibwa. Did it deal a blow to the fight against corruption? Did it stop us from pursuing corrupt people? Right, Edwin Jima, I think he was the MD of Merchant Bank, Mebwata. Not a MPP. He was taken to court for causing financial loss to the state in some rice importation matter. He was acquitted by the court under an NDC government. In fact, was it not under an NDC government? Then also forcing High Court, appeals court is free, no?
Yes.
So is it the first time appeals court Omega Ubia Yeboah for and after you do not say more court now? So if it is acceptable, say appeals court will free at forcing under an NPP government. Why is it a problem? And is it because of the NDC? So we are NDC here. Just because we are buying what you know. So we need for crying for 2 years. Is that the logic we are espousing?
Felix, my
and the reason for that cannot be that previous court judgments have been criticized. Criticize the court by all means, but don't tell a lie about government and our NDC in this matter, because NDC may be Diaboni was acting. The facts are very clear. There are many people who don't know. If you know to said Naba or finally appeal me. But you and I know that has something no correct. She filed this appeal 2 years ago. 2 clear years ago. And yet it's a woman of starting the sentence, no, and change. But that has nothing to do with the appeal. And indeed, it was not the fault of NDC. It was the court that was trying her. And a man Akwenya said on Kwabuchi one sayamba. And this is about what 4 years ago, Yeboah.
That's true.
If it was 2 clear years and not 3 clear years before the NDP left power. So they could have taken any step they wanted to bring her back. How do you then fault us for her absence from Ghana? Indeed, it was the same NPP government. I say, on the 4th January 2025. As I speak to you, we are engaged in processes to seek his extradition. Have we not done so? So we have done the same thing that we are doing against Kenufrata, against Sedinam. So on what basis does anybody seek to blame government? Especially when even the judgment, Obiankai, you've not even found the basis upon which the court arrived at that decision, and yet you are blaming government. It is patently false.
Very well.
No, we should not encourage that kind of conjecture. And then say, in the past, court judgments were criticizing. It is not a reason to say something that is not true. It's as simple as that.
Yes.
Ne papa and me papa were friends. Na the okay can de maintenance echna. Yes, I appeals court ya no more ekogina na nim say won free won to me.
Won to me appeal yes.
And then I make a church china no. Say won to me kone BBC and so almost so you being manipulated by MPP ana. Obi koya appeal. Nese appeals court no panel 3 members.
Yes.
Omu decide they say na nko no. Wone hwan no akwa yi. That is why your friend is so wow can attorney general why then wa file
yeah was serving notice or be file appeal ultimately before a case ne cry be ba no san e file but say we agree to the appeal but the point is that said the name is a Ghanaian. Yes,
as Ghanaian as wound to me. Oti I say wound to me enya more Ghanaian than said the name.
Yes.
In this one who so we more pentam guta phone. Or pentam be kaze no bi o campaign and the why kesi say. Hey, campaign ben why kesi say akwaba. Na we all dey besi.
Somebody you so vinvin here.
Akwaba.
Yeah.
dear yeah.
Nana ya bebacho kasa.
Asa na be so speed on
was said na me Ghana ni say won't.
Yes. Said na Ghana need to say me to say wo. To say an armed robber to say murder or feel say maybe as so yeah appeal that appeals court na wo say wo for appeal.
Sure.
So if MPP say will be manipulated the judiciary, did they also manipulate the judiciary? Also they me check. Cases are in an abi dey atoto hoi. 8 years near wo case hu yan convict you bia.
So no dey mfa.
I am saying for how long? 8 years. Evidence are in fear watch.
Some cases are 40 years.
I am saying say 8 years so nipa na ye crime wafa Ghana sika. Ese so ye sharp. 8 years oh. Mukoba sa 8 years. Number 2. MPP for during Tamil's time went to court and they were acquitted and discharged.
Yes.
And so the no man kase asemo. They went to court. Okay, Ghana at 50. Yeah. All manner of people went to court over various issues. Say you share sa a year. Your fourth Republican. Why not jelly in Crawford MPP? So they be no more kasa. Omo ye more Ghanaian than who? Obi, I'm telling you, omo ye more Ghanaian than mine. Inti say ne there so you want to me there sankoko ye ne kasa okay ya. Ene de ye. Ene de ombe praise ayi. Judges but I said the name de enye. Because we NDC ni because ni moja nye Ghana. Also they mention the court has done something. If you disagree, also so their processes behind the scenes ni can processes ni bi. Me lawyer ni but I believe he said their processes are also so no ubetimi okra no ubetimi akasa wo mpene. We a lawyer ni winning process. So you don't say these things as if so obi ahye that say omo ye bibi sa nom the excellency Mohammedin bemwa. Na ya humte. Adentia. Because ono onye lawyer. And onye judge. There be say Akufo-Addo no bi kan asem. At that time na judges na ne ye kan wo kai. No, yes. His Excellency Mahama no pe crime o. We are one for Abuga Pele antum. No, na dia Abuga Pele court. Abuga Pele is his best friend. Otimasi obi onim no nkola brem. Enso ade na anko yi anfa na anko court. O ka se o mpene. O de no court ma ye convict no. Ana.
Yes.
Aha. Inti no menya sure say bibi o ho na se nya. Ono bekwa akoka che judge bi say yenye na ABC. No. He will not do so. But judges know how to take a decision. Say your objection to that decision. It does not also negate the fact to say the Nipan has a right to appeal. Our right to appeal. As a Ghanaian, so there were a politician in Tiana. She has a right to appeal. As long as we have a democratic, any extrajudicial, so yet utimi appeal. Inti judges at Transiaka say who said there's no veracity in the case. Inti say to Attorney General so say me feel say ABCD me so ma appeal. Yes, say the Beko Supreme Court.
Yes.
The Supreme Court can asem. Let's wait till then. So near my summer walk and cry one no woni pe be ordenenam. Twen sempe bi o kan tintin bebre minua. So to the image. I think it's asemba. We should take our time and even look at all the lawyer ni so kasa say. Me amenya lawyer ni mpo matome bo ase ahwe bibia na maka say. Sesa dynamic we ya bem say Attorney General say o yes ayentwen esi nyanya abotre me hu adekonti MPP for koka ayi campaign ti omo position nti bibi keto abi and they latch on and they make noise about it. Because Obi, I'm telling you, say Bonnie or Medi Ghana for no. Enye way ne betimi asese bibi. Ono okwa said the nam ejane. Sedinam ko enye ne de na be. Obi susu di potatoes wo baby.
So on the court be emu anefo.
Se court ebu anefo, yes ye the charge ato ho ama bra be yi ano. Adenti no wadwane. Finance Minister bia wo krom hadie benti na ayi wadwa. Adenti no ono na bi no. O bibia ne de no. Remove the speck in your eye before you remove the log in somebody's eye. A dear ben na MPP I say your friend is saying can for your time refie me yinam. They say wadane samantwentwen no wo kro bi so hu Ghana ni kro be kwa kope ba bia fa. Wo be dwane.
O me yina no wo de ade.
Whatever it is, you see you charging or certain things you didn't send bia to no so. Womra no meka se manye sa. Otemasi. Yeah, Kekase, but I dear Bentin, our former finance minister. Wakwa di kurobi so krata na oko. What's it be that? Obi.
So, also was all right,
All right, but I'm saying it's a nye bibiana. We a penny more way. When you do you do level beer. Near maybe or why you don't do it. They say we buy a finance minister. I'm not why drinking or ye cronisano. Because I'm not drinking in honest one tina krumha. Because I cannot drink this or bet tina krumha. And could be 1 year the or ye kruno. Into all ya know plans so be jaiho. Into a yena essay. Nature said one come. Obi uti de michiri. Because uncle drinking was so be spend the time be with her. Uncle dear no be. Uncle bet na or ye near me ye. Abroche osu seeking medical hospital buy and uncle see hospitals a crown put 2 good ones. That no bika. To say the Mayo Clinic.
Agenda 111.
Agenda 111. It was see hene. Obi kofe bibi agenda 111 within and net that's one go see baby as cement nim oh saying
na uni agenda 111
mesia wo hene agenda 111 o man ka say ne dey acknowledge say o man nye ni because anka won see one big hospital or Tamale won improve Tamale teaching hospital ultimately and 7 northern sector G when we improve G, me de be a meka.
G no more improvement.
Improvement.
The two are not mutually exclusive. First say we improve G in Chester district be any hospital.
Me pacho say 8 no.
Yes.
Your friend is saying 111 no almost so more ye no. 101.
Yes. 111.
11. District be they say 260.
So district ni be a district hospital dada. Omo ni be na 88.
And say no almost 88. First, and the better kratas, and the 111 by.
Yes.
What did they meet? But hospitals are kesiye to say Mayo, won't mean sin or district. There's some who see or call Mayo no, I will call who say Mayo city and a son who Timika say Ghanaians also deserve Mayo. And you been a Kwame Nkrumah and a Niswa di who is so quabro chain war bar, which means a Ghana for deserve more.
I wasn't everywhere. I'm a teen you be a kai.
Okay.
Let me be very.
What the president said at the manifesto launch, will win it. In the honor of the clock in the bar, and I say, a Juma Barco, way from I know a wine clock 133.
One part, say, 24-hour economy, maybe me can't be, but I chanced on BBC.
Yes.
Interview Bia. Answer near Tuah. A tear from Fanchami and then many messages. Me voice me pom chopa. On the BBC.
President
Mahama BBC. Our Mubisa and Sembebre.
Okay.
One of them near 24-hour economy.
Okay.
OBT and your President Mahama Kai.
Okay.
The results of the December elections.
So let me.
24-hour economy. To implement the 24-hour economy.
Yeah.
Depending on the promise of implementing the 24-hour economy. Can you explain to us what that means?
It's simple. I mean, if you incentivize businesses to run longer than 8 hours, they can't run with the same number of people. They'll have to employ some more people. The demand is there. We have the African Continental Free Trade Area. We have the ETLS, ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme.
How much will it cost your government to implement the 24-hour economy?
You can't put a cost on it immediately. 24-hour economy is not an event. It's a process. And so even while we're stabilizing the macroeconomic environment and bringing inflation down, bringing interest rates down, we'll be implementing the 24-hour economy. You're thinking about it as if we'll wake up overnight as soon as I'm sworn in a 24-hour economy.
Will you be able to do that in 4 years?
We will start at least.
So your 24-hour economy then is a gamble?
It's not a gamble. Why would it be a gamble? 24-hour economy is not a new concept. It's been implemented in Sydney. It's been implemented in UK. It's been implemented in Singapore.
You can't compare Sydney,
but
Singapore, Ghana.
They started somewhere.
You have 4 years. Will you be able to implement that?
4 years? Is that the end of Ghana? So after 4 years, that's it.
A new government comes in
and says we don't want 24-hour economy.
It's possible?
Well, that's Ghana's loss.
Ghana is among the...
Obi, so this was before the elections. Me only politician or honest, say President Mahama no. Now I would make KBB after budget.
Obi, that's okay.
West.
Let's hear Shabia one Tias.
Honorable Timpacho.
Omobisan. Or say 24-hour economy event. Okay, now Wanga. So if you set 8 years in power, you don't even have 10 factories to show for 8 years.
When I say in Parliament on record,
150
factories.
What I heard
on record.
Me
Let him finish.
You don't go and then put one district, one factory on an existing company, existing factory. Now my catch just and I'm promising Ghana for. Me say what 10? I will start here at the aswabo form. I will mommy minimum. I've given you my time. But mommy. You see, Adia went to me. You should be the last to even castigate to be 8 years. President Mahama 4 years. We're only 2 crowd so criticize him. 8 years. Please, me say 8 years now. We're buying. Allow me. You see, so they should be the last. Me say 8 years, but 10 district factories went to Bianca. I've now Google. I'm challenging you.
No campaign promise. I buy 24
So wait for 4 years. 4 years. Because 4 years. 1.5 years. So allow me. So it is a fact. It's that they failed. One district, one factory. I failed you. Crowd you the accounts. One village, one dam. No, I'm seeing south there. Just here, the BBI and come home. Yet, the BBI anywhere. You're fataying. It's one village, one down. One say no Sunni and count. These are the people criticizing. Tell me policy document on the one village, one down. Tell me Google not policy document on. What border trokama? What free swa? When do 2 years pay? Most start here there with 6 months per crown. Most start to see a budget, and then a for 24-hour. Papa not trim. Look, in an economy with the economy we inherited. My body troka yan energy sector yan yasi yabeti energy so the type of energy yabeto me grad around this economy 24-hour economy no. You don't fix it and make sure say power sector no stable. And I don't watch it say wow sir who macroeconomic your friends indicators ni now we have 24. Is that not what President Mahama said? And that is how it should be. So person we have policy na sustainable e da ho afeboa onya ne se nyom ye no. There's even no policy document on one district, one factory. There's no policy document on one village, one dam. At least yan certain secretariat and Franco presidency ase ya an act of parliament. And they are regulating antisika bia omo beje no omo beba parliament abechirem ansa na ye amom. You failed. Mutam sika kwashe presidency no macha ayen yamope because na mudi akwa kwashe government machinery sika ase yentimi question mo. This is your record. And these are the people who ever criticizing President Mahama. You have been in parliament. So when me no ni passing the bill.
Secretariat 24
hours office of the president.
Asam me kan am say went here. Me say and then your act of parliament ye kire establishing. It ya kire sources of funding. Is that not so? And sources of funding, it includes Sika Parliament be pass the amount. It is Parliament, so pass Sika Biademawa. You account to Parliament.
Yes.
That is the difference. That is the difference. It don't find government machinery Sika say, Babaye Sika, we did what you couldn't do. At least for status. It Yababe to economy TC. Esa who build their net ya catch when now parliament minister now new there ya catch say we are constructing 1,200 megawatt state owned your friends a power plant ya pesi ya energy sector ni.
When you say we are constructing, what does that mean?
No, this is it. The government, this is what the budget says. It said the government is developing 1,200 megawatt state owned combined cycle gas fired power plant in Kafujiji Abra in the commander area. Yes, area. The first 600 megawatt phase is expected to be commissioned in 2028. The project will reduce electricity tariffs by 10 to 20%.
It's a project I feel mobile.
Yeah, but that is how we do it because the energy sector no problems. We need to stabilize the system. You stabilize it. You catch us at trouble. You second phase. It's not how to develop a country.
For that young man. Based on the promise of 133.
Yes.
Otoma NDC,
yes.
was say or China Musisi power
plant. Because the engine, President Mahama say, before elections, on one casano didn't policy by or say yebema private sector incentive. Wangawaha. Na omodia incentive had be my private sector and so be reduce electricity your friend bills and yadia. And no near common and the fimuba. Inti ube reduce electricity tariffs. As I say, we invest in electricity no cheaper. And that is what we are doing. System I better yobi. Sabi a car. Not domestic even bonds. Crying to me to your friend is saying most of the bonds this year twice. I think in August and then some other month. Obeto sa kaninia unja ho ensorin koto siken fengu baby. We enitu tie President Mahama ye pa who said tie biwa. Me send the video nama. Or say at least we will start. This is the president before the elections. Because enye easy sir, but ye bibi government state owned agencies in a day. Wouldn't even ya start here. But enye enough. How many?
And no low hanging fruit.
Absolutely.
But you some way by
but you have to pay them. You have to pay them. It is a say we base you see kasam at say how better because most of this you be fair. So most of these agencies are more of enya direct income. Mine. I social services normal render. Because how did you pack your friends the local government service? Direct income if you hobano and say so what I say. Into your honsuna ebi wo baby abetria for thousands of people. So the nipa ko judiciary and also baby abetria for dipa. Sike free hoba. And this is the government while retaining 100 your friend is saying internally generated fund because you person developing judiciary. Yes, it wasn't so under President Akufo-Addo. It is obi di anasembro akoko tuya your filing fees judiciary ni keep your money. This is what we've done. Enti omu yemu adwuma ni ano aban first consolidated fund no di atuomka. So eyanyoso insio eton wo krom no ene ade sika haje no ne yedi tua judiciary neka it will say for 10,000 and now 2,000 akoguma e so say hwe sika fi baabi na ade ko it is not fait accompli. At the end of the day we intend doing it, but we need to stabilize the system, make sure say you're liquid before we employ.
Yeah, but the unemployed youth may not be
agree, but you say we are not as we speak you employ nurses, you employ teachers, and I hear and say you promise say automatic posting. I have records. If you want, I'll show it to you of nurses in 2019, 2020 under your tenure. One post you. You cast automatic posting. I just where you school and you post you. What happens to 2019 phone? So government brain or doing Ghana one or best start here post to 2024, 2025, 2026 for no backlog. Tell us. Say utimi bedu bra u free so. Tell us, be confident to tell us 2024 batch of teachers and nurses who employ them. Say oh yes, I dey nurse and yentimi anyo automatic posting na me kasa men this bi. Yenya sani ya. Wo waja 2019 2020. Ye ba ya no. Ye say ye be automatic posting e say we school ni e post you. Ye be to backlog a wo waja ho. 2019 2020 tifie. Ye be ja ho and President Mahama, I doff my hat for him. Or catch a minister for health so no one back prior 2024 and finish him. I can tell you if they have evidence they should tell us. Not a single person beyond 2021 year fan. Because President Mahama said no, we are building a nation. It's the first batch of nurses are year a 2021 batch. Because be a me war for Sibia 2023 I'm a person gonya. I said no. So why instructing the minister for health? See that. See how they were doing recruitment in this country. Mr. Krum, ama Krum, ya denchambo, Krobi oho, ama Krum, or kanko, ya the abobo ya, and echo, udu a ye junction, so at abobo ya, but now my police you or he no cry from some vida. Because of Sanya Ramutaka, President directing no year recruitment. See that. Motion and I'm from cronies, Obia Prem, advert Krebima. Look at how we have started developing this country. Are we not absorbing Ghanaians and a Togo for the form? So in the meantime, yeah, Fabi, but you may think it's not enough because of backlog amumujaye. And when I might yet because some year be do baby. One day say one factory na musu busamu de be fedipan. Say to me absorb ye napku afedomun kakrebu ayra. Some year policy ni ya ni namu ni amu ye ya yan yaba yanto aso. Free education. Yaba yentwaso. your friend is saying capitation grant, youth employment. Your crowd near the act in a buy. Momo starting as a policy. Yen ye bear no aban juman kasa. Yes, I because your fool said no, we are developing a country. It's in your mind, eh? And to pass on your money near we are. Nothing I hear the appropriate grounds are because a say power no nebo be ye bre ebe ye fool by 20%. Ojumani and one okay, me no yagin. Say a basana near investor no and I say a juma or because okay, I can produce more. At the time we'll produce no him say police station or baby am factory one say bibi crazy. And ya fay and now no beg ever take decisions I can employ more and do an ajo ejumano or by has a now some robbers by here. It's government and no police stations when your private person is it's a buy by from there. Ebe wo ho no mo a ebe ma investor in nyina so an nkranhye say I can even operate in the night and I'll be okay. Obi yare I can rush the person to this place and then I'll be fine. Etinia can say if ene ye ka 24-hour economy tiri mo pone say ye de enwuma beba ye be run different shift na many penya adwuma but do ba ne sa na e private sector esese wo ma system no and na investor person baga na o hwese o currency na say o currency ene ye timi aye ma currency aye stable no doubt ni omo come on say akaye botom but I'm surprised aban bia no in this world o tam sika e kaso bia nsalai no achiche sika e bin see that
I just leap.
I just said
leap.
No, of course, social way in the Obia almost send you no ya market. The American citizens, even in US or someone sala will be a magiska. It doesn't happen. A year conducive environment, you know, Obiano or Pejuma Obinya. Or Yajumani betu minimum wage be cost right baby na Niama Bonso are you stable at least you can predict and plan your life and that is what
Honorable, from everything you've said will it happen in the next 2.5 years say Yebenya one job 3 shift 3 people
but then I said you are and then passport at least and yet 1 shift I know of 2 Utie so we started something.
Passport 2 shifts.
Passport, yes. It be 2 shifts.
I know you're here.
The head office. Omunye 1 shift.
Omunye 2 shifts.
Omunye 2 shifts.
But say no 2 shifts, not charge 6 from my point.
No, but I'm saying that we started something. Okay. You are not getting it. And not President Mahama.
Yes, event.
President Mahama can say event. Say anything I'm saying. That any part of the Obisami you know. No, the Mamun Kasakra. Because if 8 years, if you were 8, my 8 years under your friend is saying 24-hour economic market, you failed. Mr. What 10? What for Google? It is and not make us say Yebeshasi at least, and I like the honesty. Sabrina and Tuah about or say at least we will start something. It is a mujitum say I be creating you also by no then what bet was so said ya free education soon. But the man yet to say a yasembone. Because a day started be me say Chief Justice.
You disagree with Obi Obeka say mo dada Ghana for with this promise.
What's that?
Me see you disagree with the claim say you deceived the Ghanaian youth to vote for you with the Agenda 133 promise.
No,
you disagree
we've
with
not
that
deceived
claim?
them at all.
Are you sure?
We've not deceived them at all. We still say we are creating the enabling environment for your friend Numa. Send you 1 district 1 factory. But you see what way no, you stabilize the economy no. You ma power be cheaper. You ma sabe access to your friends saying stability and the idea no ebe ye adwuma. Na amma omotimi aye incentivize to also create
almost halfway through
no,
the
Obi, me can say me no ya adwen. And your time runs so fast. Me no ya adwen. Say enyama as a quantum change. Okay, me wo de. Okay, me no ya adwen. Say no, let's speed up. Or quote me anyway. Me no be ya adwen. But then who couldn't deliver one and then me say a policy document anyway. I'm saying me kro market and yanka 1 village 1 down.
Since you've stopped paying dues, you will not be considered as a member in good standing of your party, you know.
Of course, yes. Until I start paying.
Okay.
When the right thing is being done, yes, I'll pay. But when you have a situation where money is being used to buy people, I will never pay. Never. But the moment the right thing is being done, after they start doing the right thing, I will pay my dues and maybe pay more.
And then you can be able to vote.
Absolutely. Not a delegate. But
Yeah,
I'll
vote
use
as a
my
member.
own power as a member of the party and good standing to vote for my choice, not the choice that has been dictated to me by cash. No.
Doc, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you. The decision today is a victory for internal democracy, no?
Oh, yes, it is a victory for the whole nation, I would say. And particularly to me, it is a total slap in the face of monocracy among delegates, which nearly destroyed some of the political parties. And I would say also that if this has not happened, or if judgment had been different today, that would have been the end of democracy in this country. And I won't be surprised if the soldiers step in.
Yeah, but why do you think this decision saves our democracy? I mean, there are those who believe that really in terms of the influence of money in our politics, I mean, the decision notwithstanding, still people would pay money, because even if you broaden the college, in this case, every member in good standing will be allowed to vote. Still, people can influence as many as possible, no?
So what you are saying, if that is tried in any political party, that party will be exposed.
Okay.
That's point number one. Point number two, that party will be an enemy to democracy and to the people of this country.
But I don't know if you've heard some of the criticisms, I mean, that have come in following the decision of the court. Some have said, yes, I mean, the decision will sound all good on paper, but how do you practicalize it in reality? I mean, who then becomes a member in good standing? Who would foot the bill of organizing these internal elections? I mean, if every card-bearing member is supposed to vote, who takes care of, the organization, logistics, and all of that?
I don't see that as a problem at all. First and foremost, we as a political animal,
yes,
we have been careful. See, that's why I say, let's look back. Some people are too young to, get some of these things, registered. When NPP was being formed years ago, the method that was used in picking the leadership, the method that was used in picking the presidential candidates, told us clearly that the elders of the party then were all very, very democratic in anything that they do. We have come to destroy it, including myself. Now, the Supreme Court's ruling today marks a significant turning point in Ghana's democratic journey. They have declared, or if I'll say, cancel the delegate system. They find it to be unconstitutional. And they have affirmed that all registered party members in good standing who have paid their dues are entitled to vote in internal party elections. Very important.
Yeah, but Doc, don't you see any potential challenge with who then becomes a party member in good standing? Will it be just down to the payment of dues? The party can, you don't think the party can amend their respective constitutions and put some fetters in the way of potential voters? Because if a political party decides and says, okay, for me to become a party member in good standing, you should have paid your dues, you should be current on dues payment, you should have attended more than 50% of party meetings at the branch level, you should have been a member of the party maybe 3 or 4 years prior to that primary. All of these the parties have the power to decide on all of these, no?
All the points you have just raised, if our party, I don't know which party you belong to. Me, I am an NPP.
Mm-hmm.
If our party had been a party that I will call a democratic party, Bawumia would never have been even a running mate for Akufo-Addo.
Oh, how?
Based on what you just said. Based on what you yourself just said. I'm listening to you very carefully. Based on what you just said. Because when we pick Bawumia, none of these conditions you have come with was a point I would say he qualified. None. Yet we pick him. Look, let's be very careful. I keep on saying, I'm warning people. Look, people will make a big mistake. What is happening in the political parties now, particularly NPP, and at times it surprises me, because we are known as the mothers of democracy. And that mantle has been taken over from us by the NDC. I am telling you this. Anybody can challenge me, and I can prove it. That mantle of democracy has been taken over from us by the NDC. We knew from the beginning that the NDC was not a democratic party. Yes. By the moment, they are more democratic than we are. I am telling you.
How so?
How can a case that has been held in court by a high court judge just after the case has been, just after judgment, in less than 4 hours, a party general secretary, my God, summons pressmen and addresses them, and not just that, but tells them that the sentence was a political sentence. This can never happen under Daroja. Never. I will say never, never, never again. Or under J.H. Mensah, or under Aram Ponsa, or under Peter Alajiti, or under Odwe Sykes. It can never happen.
Promise was clear. Monamua Parliament documenting in Abba. Do you think that promise will see the light of day as it was explained time of your campaign?
I think say Obi 24-hour economy policy no matter how our best explaining be to assume. And to assume because any policy any idea ye chichene say the policy. And you may be a demand driven. To say asempa na mo ahaya amoye adwuma. Say demand ne kosra ekosi say demand the kosra kese a producers bit aka say yen stand time
no yes.
And your best and in be obi kra bepe obi foforo abetra akwadwa nim say obi yedru say ya nipa ne beba abeto aso. Into what to say mining companies, some of the factories, and even security service, health sector, near there. Baby, a demand no ewo hono.
Shift.
When you open a back at you, else will run a shift. Ukwa production line, you be adibi, just to make sure say you meet the demand. Inti enya dia uputi in a policy document edibabe to Ghana for.
I'll explain.
Especially when when you put it in a policy document.
Yes.
Obi umami
that's fine.
It creates a blanket statement obi abe expect to say affect every sector of the economy.
Okay.
UK who read 24-hour na year researcher. After COVID, UK for introduce 24-hour
economy
almost 24-hour city.
Okay.
And what they did was also underground rail.
Yes.
Into yes underground rail no who say nightlife after COVID nightlife a good. Enti nightlife, that is restaurants, clubs, cinema ni adi nyina egu. Enti omuma underground rail ni metro no free. And that was a policy government yes ye mani free na wa obefa underground na jubia no untua for a period.
Okay.
Enti no be motivating crofama otifie no nya shobeka so say train free dia ma mentem na menko cinema we na menye dey menko hwe ya na menko pub we nko tenase ana menko restaurant bi na me madam funko didi. So specifically no mo share areas bia omo ye betumi abo am economy na ye dey apeja economy ni peja wie no mo ended that policy into ukofa underground afi do baby ube dey ubetia ba oba na be ka che say wo the policy 24 hours aba eye campaign say emabunu ebenya adwuma 133 nipa ba come say adwuma ba
one job
three people three shifts.
Yes.
That was a major campaign policy ye on national television all media outlets e ma to Ghana for team na no na mo eso e mo mkoto aba o manifesto no it was the anchor of the manifesto. Out there campaign a Ghana for share to Abamao 2016 MPP na free SHS anchor of your manifesto. Into your buyer now within the first year you implement free SHS. Ghana need be anya some for so even when na opposition then a sponsor adverse against free SHS nessa and so implementing money ye ma and even though challenges kakra by no and ubia who say free SHS dem fa so ayede aba ama aba betena ama aba we buy no so ye dey or to aso into 24 hours no na ye hwe se senya wo dia ye major anchor for manifesto no wo buy no ye hwe se enwuma wo be create enwuma ebetumi afa nipa miensa ama unemployment akofom.
But did you get the understanding say aban e be create enwuma no
sa aban ka so no be wan ka say be private sector
ti wo dem achire
one can say be private sector also no obey enti oka say
existing government agencies
miti omopa baako omo be ma not honum omo say electricity utilities ombetete so ama a drive the production sector no ama omo fa nipa ni bia yedey aka ho obi me no ka say electricity be na yatete so ama a drive production.
So they've not officially announced the incentive package, you know. No announced.
Obi 24-hour no. Utie Guzitano. Our danwa. Also be here $4 billion US dollars.
Yes.
Osha budget ma. Sika yediako Guzitano krane office. So mfanye dwaya about 10 million. Sika yediako. Aka abani mfie. Say we try 1.5 years.
Yeah, mienu nefa. 4 billion no. Even big push there no cry omo ye no. Scanner fe no omo jeje ne nkaka ko hwe budget ni mu we. Enye fa no ko fe scanner dia akwa sa de no. Enye feasible ye njaika. Enti say abane dwane free promise ne ho. Ana afi odi 24-hour market. Enti or force ya pese odi hye Ghana fo tim say 24-hour market no. And a 24-hour economy now promise here no. Enti sisa wo NDC ni bia wo bisa 24-hour economy or say 24-hour market. Aye dwadie. Na so edwadie ye hu ye okodwom koton ade a e wo mra obepon akofie. Edwa bia ne ho e wo Ghana omoton ade ama ade echi. Ahomache edwa bia be kono omapon. Ene wo fa Kaneshi market a ahomache wo akofa car e wo Kaneshi. Ibedu edwam fo nya nom de rubber katakata. Omoniema so store nyina oma tutututu muko enti Ghana nye oman bia ubekwa na edwa anajo even malls mpo no beka se security ni ade cameras ade okra edru time omopon etum omokra pon tum even silver bed yes cinema kra no ye omre bi omopon cause omuni demand na be drive ama ade ayede a chenwe bus simple ebedru time bi kra be kona Oma pake try inside the bechi. Inti
omo policy ne de sebe me ba bia mete de me hu ne say bibi na omo ka de ye dede sabe na omo ye campaign omo pe bibi encourage omo campaign no na se ne amenu aka ye se omo nya omo di se ne oka ye se omo to omo goes away na omo humble omo no omo ka say ye kind but enya de ye feasible
but you also remember say 1D1F was a campaign promise.
Yes,
good. In my manifesto, we can say to be private sector led.
Yes.
Moving about what you did was to set up the secretariat.
Yes.
And announce incentive packages. I be attracted private sector. It may be they are also preparing to announce the
as it stands now, 24-hour economy no. Omu emfa bibia ma ekra private sector ko obi anim ho ayi. Omo aban no se no man mean say omo be ya. Guzita no be ka say be cost 4 billion no. Say bianca sika kra omo dey 24-hour markets across the country. Come back ka bo mu say ye disca we koto ho. Na wa wo pese wo ye 24-hour business and bibi no. Brand yen hwe incentives ne cost ne ade na government nye dey. Enso mum enso wasen. But bibia say ni ho. Into 1.5 years, we measure anchor out the campaign no. Untumi start time na be start 1 year to ube free na be start na say. Into as it stands now the obi 24-hour economy ni dey egu.
Dead on arrival.
Oh, dead on arrival. Obi obeka bia no. Ji say omo de ka 24-hour market. Edwan so de Ghana ha. Obi a o sebe oya akra mpo no. Enim say edwa bia no e be dia ma ade ache. Ana say human beings are rational. Unko bie edwa ent na ho na homache akromfo ba so ana ye dey.
Say
na homache wan ba be to ne ma no.
Some ka so mo be
KJT ane central market so kwa homache ahwanum ne ton ne ma. Even station kromo mo ton ne ma ji say your mom che kusua any bread any tea ahomache om kro time om pon. Ubedu ahomache be 3 na ni nyina asa. Nani nyina asa enti obi omo 24 hours na di the whole Ghana one place at 24 hours no si say who say koso kama a speaker of parliament position oba babem betna se kakra na ahia for aba kakra na miame papa honorable
is it Formina MP
I no so aba kakra omo miensa ne de shift no ekoso na mranti omani atutu aka omunsem omo pa adwuma na nkebede na obi yekofa police for a emabunu be more than 100,000 they apply teacher for ni ayifo yi ene hwede ekoso omama mabunu nyina ni atutu aka omunsem
mate makosia ministry ne se montwentwen so kakra monso magye atom tel efiada next pricing window no sa nete
yo mini am mechao ne wetefo nukwe enrana ishemude bi course na ishemude nanka tituru grananka header nye loro fe no watem but na niama ka pro petra issues na watem o manye de permit ho a gine say one more private unfortunately fa illegal charges for a year on the kind of so a brand of panel here. Tonight, maybe if I could to me as a man, to me as society now. I know what kind of say a giant hidden prosecutorial power, any arrest power. And you bear advice and propose. And we advise so many you might be here. There's some radio who did to me no idea. And the who could say this year and I didn't come up. Na pia mu say with new airline no my no new amendment no my no final space to more it was to overcharging I will mind no be I did that when it comes into full force the police can arrest anybody who overcharge so that was the major but the buy mu to far lot of no only no and okay, now it can indicate that there be a fool no about to do me. Moving here, say better Lord for Mukaka. Nana, buying so we are sending the BA and a few state home come. The same, you know, your battery is fair and did the window. And the correct cotton. Not say be a fool, not a cost will be one. And then call it for another increase. Yes, a train kakra don't say now and go to the next window started. And members never ban. Moving here to someone. Yeah, quiet. Moving here to
okay.
Yeah, traveling.
Okay. And next window if you are day.
Yeah. Jacha, we do other day. Not change it, yes, baby, and about pump.
But changes a bema Majia tum se usisia de yentum a change by this ABR a beba ne ateso say 50 pesos and 40 pesos are.
No, okay. No. Obi so kaboma your cumulative, you're more than 10% increase cumulatively.
Oh.
I can give me a trigger discussion for increase. But we say, yeah, this system is predictable.
Yeah.
Let us see president in an mobile treatment, Emma and Yinafa, and Costa, those were my form, a coca crama. It would me predicting Nutania Eba Bay. And I saw two say a time back for Monsua. Yana, a money, we tried to that's the one yet said to the traveling public. If he's going to stand for a longer period, I also there. They would too much they are justified. But then of course about for me. They are my margin of honor as a from 50% there. I don't think say bit me a whole year not to increase. The buffer from my bit a whole year not to increase there. Let's say from below 10%.
I will say about from below 10%.
Yes, below 10% from the previous previous level and one.
Yeah.
Then we can consider but if it's within that 100 year, it's very difficult to convince our people. But the pressure is just enormous.
Yeah. In the Omonson are already kaya to tum that they must start implementing and swear.
Well, you say Nipeni be a charge illegally. You know, another issue. And so we are finding a way to deal with it. What we want to do is say, if we want to even make any increase in the ground bar, we'll be about what money the piano. We have to FM before we can even come out with any increase. Because I guess a better more new illegal increase this one as the original price. A passenger not so ever stop on duty. So it's something that we still want to work on it. And in fact, I'll break a trail anyway. It will be some come on. Yeah, I'm about to
me paso enti ye betwen fiada de ebesi bia ebesi adi nkomobio why
me that's me na
yen so ye dase our prices air corner next pricing window which is this Friday into mo beba na sente so beba
oh me main kan say enra enenne the global market has been quite your friend is saying stable. In fact, at some point there were some was it losses or crude actually lost about 4% by way of pricing. The only other thing is that as we speak, US versus Saudi, US versus Iran, granting Saudi the license to go ahead with nuclear, whilst at the same time negotiating with Iran, they cannot have nuclear. And see, almost situation, you can only keep an eye on it. It's still very fluid. But as for fuel, there, prices not maybe we might not go up again. Maybe we might also go up again by Friday. You can never be too sure at this point because in America, very fluid. Almost also exchange drones, and then supplies are also not going. You could wake up and the price of finished products would have plummeted. Again, you could also wake up not a decline. So, Ubisami, I would say is that we can only wait and see it all by close of week. So hostilities, and Tuah so there, we should be good.
Yeah, I mean, me busa a question because yene drivers union na din komo. Almost say abain, umusia abain ne. Me and by abain I mean the transport ministry enne. I'm a ministry ni say omun hold it on until the next pricing window. Na abain be hwede omo be intisi the decision whether on better transport fares or not, no, based on what happens on Friday. In fact, Bibusa almost said, in Teswa saying a bit more comfortable, or more enco to transport fares. Mamo say petrol eba from almost 15 cities to be 12 cities. Ebeboa. And I said,
can diesel and now petrol.
That be almost say petrol.
So petrol in 14, 15. I know they can yet.
Share almost say 14 to 15 20. I was say about 12 cities. And diesel and so mrabe 15, 16. Na etimi aboa omo. Anya sadia they would have no option.
Obi, make the saying. You are more likely to get stability at this point than a sharp reduction. You are more likely.
Where stability means say the price will be maintained.
Yeah, it's likely say a bit jina maybe a one than say a so bad gidi bebre. Said 2 CD. I don't see that happening. No, I don't see that happening. Many nominal will have to manage their expectations. So almost kind of say, if it's maintain the price, almost okay. I think that would be more realistic. But if you expect to say petrol will confirm by as much as 2 cities within the period, it's not likely. No. Okay.
Yeah, but listening to them, no, because the current price, no, almost say, too much in Tiancomo Barbetum. The only thing I'm holding on is I buy a sure one say a beba form. And in maintaining the current price, I don't think they would agree.
Okay. Yen any or more, yeah, or fanum. So over to me a holdie or more holdie. Possible say again a basic from crime, but intimate immediate. One who said, Mekai said the situation is so fluid. In the way a refinery, said all process oil at this time. Now you are looking to put products out there. You will take into consideration the possibility, say, a born bit to me, I'm an emotion within the next 3 hours. And it will not allow them to just sell, as low, say, at a cry. So I would say that if they can remain at the level they are, or a little lower, maybe at 20 pesos, be 30 pesos, now on sustaining business, that would be something we can all look up to by close of week. But will be a so bad cities. I don't see how the numbers would support.
Yeah, but I'll share what CNN is reporting. I think the NPA CEO share on the Facebook. CNN reporter said oil price because ENRA, I think Iran and the US airport say or fighting no oil prices saw the biggest decline since April. Brent futures and which is the global benchmark no close at 11.3% down. US crude drop away about 7%. These are good indications. It was a buono. No.
Obi, you see, when you deal with fuel price and not just the cost of crude, even when crude goes up, it takes usually 3 days to filter through what the refineries are processing. Between Monday and the end, averagely you are doing about 4%, 5% reduction for crude. Obi, young granting they say you better filter the 4-5% through on current pump prices. You will still not be able to even generate up to 1 Ghana cedi reduction. Young granted. And so where you have the driver union suggest it says a conform maybe to 12 or something 13, maybe they will be okay with it. The truth is that it might not get to that level. Yanka no credit. There's a potential as a bit maybe 40 pesos, 30 pesos. Again, as of a necrano, I have also initiated conversations with some government officials. Intervention no they buy earlier. Obekaya diesel could do 18, 17, 18 no. Some 2 cities was taking off for diesel pesos was taking off for petrol, no? If they can consider something like that just to be able to hold off the transport unions from going up, maybe that would suffice.
Oh, okay.
But to be extremely optimistic, say because crude or Brent futures, have gone down by some 8 or 9 or whatever percentage points, would necessarily mean say a better petrol. So don't forget that a lot of the OMCs, as we speak, would have placed their orders already. Would have placed their orders, and that sharp decline, you might not get. I mean, up to 10%, 20%. It might not be very likely. And what we can only tell the drivers, and they say best, so conform kakra be 40 pesos, 50 pesos. Maybe we should encourage them. Say omunya butre ni enhwe kakra. Maybe they might get to the level or more penal. But if you tell them say immediately, they should expect a steep or an overwhelming reduction. They may be disappointed by the end of the week. Obi.
My